ledgers that you provide. So when you provide your ledgers, you have your sales ledgers, you have your purchases ledger, you have given an opening stock and closing stock, and KRA will tell you, we want the stocks to be this way, descriptive this way. We want the amount, we want the item number, we want the pieces, we want the different segmentation. They will tell you this is cluster of how we want, because they want to do that stock movement. Remember also, they have your VAT return that you've been doing. They have your sales, they have your purchases. So if they get their opening stock and the closing stock through data, and the KRA, I've seen they have really invested on systems that are able to do some of this data very, very fast. So they can be able to input all this data, input the opening stock, input all the sales for the 12 month, input all the purchases, and at the tail end, have the closing stock and do the variances. And they can still input that data. When you provided the sales ledgers and the purchases ledger, they can still do that movement schedule. And they can even do sampling. So they even ask you for stock card and so many. So I've seen the focus, not just, we've been able to balance our banking. In the previous time, banking was really the main focus. So we find organizations that are able to, and we've been able to balance our bank reconciliation very, very well, and other issues. So you find that you don't have much issues. So now the focus is moving to other items like stock. So KRAs want to know, are you selling everything, or are you buying something and not selling in totality? Or are you buying something and you're selling it cash? So it's not traceable anywhere in your banking. But when you check how much you bought through your purchases, is it the same thing that you sold? So most of us do our purchases. We make sure that we buy with the e-teams. We file our purchases very well. But when we come in to sell, we don't sell totally under e-teams. So that is now the area that through these audits, stock movement, that is what KRA is looking for. And remember, with the full use of e-teams, it will be able to detect some of these imbalances. It will be able to tell you the whole year through e-teams, just e-teams, you've been able to purchase this much. This is the much that you have sold. You have this deficit, this variance. Kindly provide us with information of why you not sold these stocks and where are they. So that is where we are headed. And as per now, KRA is doing the stock movement with the data that already they have. So key revenue, we also have the customs reviews. And this is also something that you have seen in the last 3 months. So the post-clearance audits on imports, and KRA want to recover the custom duty, the imports, and the import VAT, and the penalties. So this is where you use the system. And we have received so many letters in this regard. This is where you import your items. And you come and start selling through the customs system. KRA is picking that information. First of all, they come and do the post-clearance audit. They want to know the items that you have imported, have you imported them in the correct pricing? So we find that most of us, when we want to evade taxes, especially at the port, you make sure that you tell your supplier, whoever is supplying you, give me a different invoice. I want to pay, for instance, an item is costing 10 shillings. You want to say it is costing 5 shillings so that you evade the custom duty and the import VAT at the port. And remember, when you bring that thing, you might be bringing it as a raw material, or you might be bringing it as an item to just come and sell. So they will go back to the drawing board and first of all, compare with the other people How much are the other people in your field bringing it at a cost of what? So they'll be able to determine that this item, it is brought, the cost, the pricing is 10 shillings and not 5 shillings. Then they can also be able to check. They can even go to China website and request for that and ask, how much can you sell this to me? So by the time we are going to these meetings with KRA, they come with so many comparisons. They say we compared with the local suppliers, we compared with China supply, we compared this and this and this, and we determined that this item is not supposed to be costing 5 shillings, it is costing 10 shillings. And they want to recover the custom duty, the import VAT, and plus penalties. Remember, this is happening after you brought in the item. Possibly you brought in that item last year in January, and you actually sold it. You came with the costing, you did your cost margins, and you sold it. Then after a year, KRA is doing this post-clearance audit, and they are charging you 5 million, 10 million on that cargo. You did not even factor those taxes when you are costing your item, you end up even making losses. So for any person that is doing imports, you have to be really careful on that line. The other portion is for people who are using clearing agents. So you're not the one personally doing that. So the clearing agent, sometimes, and we have seen this, you give them full amount of money for custom duty, for import, for penalties. You give them, possibly they do calculation and they say, for this, you're supposed to pay 3 million. But when they go there, they pay 1 million or 500,000. There's a way they do it themselves. So they pay 500,000. Possibly there's a way they carabated those invoices and those whatever. At the point of this audit, KRA comes to you, and it is upon you to now verify that you gave your clearing agent the correct amounts for them to be able to pay the taxes. So it becomes now another different case, and that case can even go to investigation unit. When KRA is doing this, what are they looking for? They are asking you for invoices from your China, from your international supplier. They want to see those invoices. They want to see payments. How much did you actually pay out that money? And for the clearing and forwarding, if they're doing that on your behalf, how much did you pay for that? And if they determine that the error is not on you, it's on your agent, they can push those tax queries to the agent. They can push the issue to your agent. So I would want you to be really careful on customs and all the other issues that are mentioned there. The data-driven, the targeted audits, you've seen the targeted audits to be on the areas that I've talked about, on stocks, on transfer pricing, on expenses, on withholding. And that is where the main issues for this quarter will be coming from as we try to get that money. The other one is on the debt collection. So debt collection. So if you're having debt, there's a lot of agency notice that has going out. KRA is under pressure for recovery. So if you're having those arrears, this is the time to speak and say, this is my payment plan. So you can do a payment plan. And if you're not in a position to also have the cash flow, you might say that I'll be paying 100,000 per month. You get to the end of the month, you don't have the money. You can create a rapport with your accounts manager and be able to inform them, I didn't get the 100,000, but I have 50,000 and I've paid, or pay mid-month, and do that commitment. Also commit for that, because at the end of the day, if they issue the agency notice and close those banks, it's up. They now demand and say, for all these arrears, pay 50%, pay 30%, so that we can be able to open, lift the agency notices. So it becomes a headache for for you to be able to negotiate at that particular point. But on the payment plan, you can be able to talk about it. Previously, we used to see that if you did not pay your debt, you could be sent on special table. A letter is sent. If KRA kept calling you, you're not paying, then they will push you to special table. At the moment, debt, you're not being pushed to special table, but an agency notice will be issued. So make sure that you're also able to clear on time. So we also have the paying and withholding tax checks. So reconciliation of pay versus the payroll, withholding tax versus the VAT. I've mentioned about the withholding tax and VAT. But on pay and payroll, so does your pay match your payroll? So that is also something. And where do they get this information from? They get their information from your pay as you earn that you've been doing on a monthly basis, and the salary expense at the end of the year. So if both of them are not matching, it also a trigger and something that they are looking at. So those are the specific areas. So if you're having issues around that area, it is very, very important for you to work on it, because you're going to be the target for the deficit. So can we talk about KRA enhancement? So there are a bit of enhancement that have gone on, especially on the iTax portal and how they are doing it. So I want to talk about it. So VAT treatment of expenses, especially for non-VAT registered taxpayers. So you can be able to claim the VAT inclusive expenses. So that has been enhanced, and you can be able to do that. So if you are a non-VAT registered taxpayer, remember, for instance, if you buy something for 100,000 plus VAT, that VAT expense, you can be able to put it on your expense. So it's now available. So the pre-filing of deductions and relief, I'm going to show you on the pre-filing. So we have these enhancements on the income tax return. I'm going to show you where it is. So the automation enhancement, so mortgage interest, there is now spaces that you can be able to fill in the mortgage interest, insurance relief. Remember, these deductions are exempt from ITIMS. So real-time filing notification. So there are new features. SMS alerts upon filing employment income returns. So this is web-based. So if now you do your filing, there is a notification that is coming immediately, confirming that that has been done, especially for employee income returns. If you under pay as you earn, you can be able to get that SMS. And remember, when you open up the employment income return for people who are employed, the other time we used to request for P9, and which is good to request and see from your employer and see how much taxes they were able to do. But even if they don't provide, when you open up the return, you can be able to see all those amounts, how they've been credited on your iTax portal. So you can just be able to see how much your employer has been able to remit on your behalf and be able to file, use that data to be able to do the return. So that feature, it is there. So system stability improvement. So there were so many errors, especially right now that iTax portal is going through so many issues and so many changes, especially because of the ITIMS validation process. So you open it and you find there no records are being displayed. So there are so many issues that are happening. So now we're having some issues being solved. You can be able to view returns so that you can be able to see how are the returns done. Of course, some of these things keep changing. keep changing, and KRA keeps setting the alerts. And if you're having issues, you can write to KRA Care. So the moment they see system issues, they are able to work on them. They might not be immediately, but they give alerts that you've been able to work on an issue and been able to solve it. So we also have the wear and tear, a capital allowances issue. So the sheet was not available. Now it has been, it's now available for filing. We have the pay credit posting challenges. So we had employees who are saying that we are missing pay credits, and I've stated that the employer, you can go to your iTax. If you're employed, you can go to your iTax portal and be able to see all those credits there. So the issue has been resolved. You can be able to see the amounts on your ledgers. So custom, I've talked about custom in the previous. It's one of the areas where KRA is looking to do a lot of collections. And we have seen in the last 3 months, KRA being very aggressive on post-clearance audits. So this mostly is happening. They have a unit where they do the post-clearance audits, and I've stated the areas where they are looking for. And also we have the investigation unit that is also doing investigation. So they pick the data and they can be able to do investigation. If you've been doing imports and you don't do the correct sales, they can push it to import. So that one I've mentioned so much about it. Let me not repeat it. So before I come to the changes to income tax filing, I would want to answer a few questions on what I've mentioned so that I can go to the to how we are filing the return. I know some of us came in because this is what we are looking for. So for the others that I've mentioned, the iTax enhancement, the areas of audit, especially for this quarter, for this last quarter. So can they raise the money in 3 months? Thank you, Patrick. So they've been able to raise the 2 trillion, 2 points in 3 quarters. So if you subdivide that, you can tell me is how much? Is about 700 billion in a quarter. So I'm very sure they can. They can, with the measures in place, they can. So we are talking about having the tax plan. What are some of the tax planning techniques? I'll talk about them especially when we are handling a topic. We shall be doing a topic on that area, tax planning. I'll be able to inform you. What are the volume of revenue? Okay. So what are the volumes? That one I'll answer, Charles. So the volumes for large taxpayers, the medium taxpayers office at the moment is about 200 million, depending on the nature of your business. So if it is wholesalers, you may find that it is higher because they do a lot of turnover. If it is manufacturing, you may find it is a bit lower, like 100 million turnover per year. So we give it to 100 to 200 million turnovers per year. You're going to be pushed to medium taxpayers office. At the large taxpayers office is about 1 billion turnover per year. So, if I've stated, if you've been following me, I've stated before that at the service station, that is when you register a company and you start doing your taxes. At the service station, the accounts manager, they have so many companies they are working with. So you may find that when there is a trigger, you don't get, there's no frequency of audits at the service station. But when you get to medium taxpayers office, you need now to understand tax planning. You need to now be tax compliant. There are things you have to input systems in your workplace. KRA cannot ask you for a sales ledger and you say you don't have, you're doing manual. No. So there are things that you have to put in place so that at the medium taxpayers office, you're able to, because that one, they are more stricter when it comes to how they handle taxes, how they do audits, and they check so many areas. If you go to the large taxpayers office, now that is so at a very high level. So, and at this particular point I'm moving, by the time you're at 50 million turnover per year, you should be having a few systems and your tax planning and having a sound tax consultant with you. That is the recommendation. It is very, very important. So for individuals doing residential property, are you required to withhold when paying for fundis? So for residential property, at the tail end, at the tail end, the residential property, you'll be paying the MRI, the monthly rental income tax. That's what you'll be doing at 7.5% on your gross rent on a monthly basis. So I don't recommend you to withhold. That will be the taxes at the end of the building. So for all the costing of the building, whether it's the materials or the mansions or the labor, you're going to capitalize the full cost. So if the full cost will come to 10 million, 20 million, you're going to capitalize it to the property and say the property is worth 20 million. That's okay. That is good for your books. But after that, the costing that you spent on the building will not be featured anywhere. Now you'll be coming to do the MRI at 7.5% on your gross rent collected on that every single month. So that's what I would answer. So Rose, on stocks for us importance, we have these consolidators who, after the manufacturer releases the goods, the consolidator imports the goods for us. Then consolidator don't give us any items invoice. Then imports for so many people, so they give us an amount to pay without items. What is the status of KRA regarding the accounting for stocks? So if you use a consolidator, that's okay. But you're going to lose on the VAT on imports. Remember, you have imported, for instance, you've imported electrical items. You have used a consolidator and you've imported goods worth 100,000, 200,000, 300,000. Mostly we use consolidated because you cannot be able to fill a full container. So you use a consolidator. The consolidator will charge you per kg and you pay them and they go. So you get your item, that item that you get, you're going to charge it 16%. Remember, if you're using, if you're VAT registered, if you're not VAT registered, that's okay. You're going to use your items and pay corporation tax at the end of the year. But if you use it, for instance, you've imported goods worth 500,000, you paid the consolidator, you paid them their money, their fee, which you can recover it on your income tax return. Make sure that you get that fee, you get your receipts. It's very, very important. Otherwise, how will you recover that money on your income tax return? Then you paid your supplier in China. Also, you have your invoices, you have your receipts. Then you're also going to recover that money on your income tax return. But if you're VAT registered, that 500,000, if you're going to sell to your customers, you're going to sell it at 500,000. You put your margin, that is possibly 100,000 plus VAT. So you're going to sell it at 600,000 plus VAT. So you become a point of VAT collection. But if you did it the other way, that you're going to bring your container, that VAT on import, you can recover it. So make sure that you factor that part for VAT. Make sure that also you get your receipts from your consolidator. It is very, very important. VAT on personal vehicle, can it be used on VAT to claim? No, if it is on personal vehicle, it's not. Please clarify on withholding payment, whether it is an accrual or receipts of insurance companies. Withholding payment. Husband, Onyango, you can tell me more. I'm imagining you're being paid by the insurance company and they do the withholding. When they do the withholding of 5%, and this is where consultant also we fail, even the insurance companies, if that company, you're an agent and they do the 5%, remember withholding is just a signal that there is a transaction that has gone through here. We have done a business together. It means at the end of the year, you have to share, you have to tell them all the income that you received. So the income for the full year, all the withholding that have been done, the income for the whole year is 5 million or 2 million or 3 million. Then this is my expenses, especially for any person that you, consultants especially. So this is my income, 3 million the whole year. These are my expenses. I have fuel, and make sure that you have items invoices for that. I have fuel, I have this and this and this and this, amounting to 2.5 million. So my net profit is 500,000. You multiply by 30%, that is about 150,000, but there was withholding of 50,000 that was done. So you pay the balance of 100,000. Most of us consultants, we miss on that. And remember, during the validation process, KRA said they are going to validate in these 3 ways: the items, withholding, and import information. So they are going to use the 3. So withholding is a part of it. So for all of us that have been doing withholding, especially consultants, now is the time to do your withholding return very well. Kindly, if your income is only from residential property, yes, MRI is a final tax. So for income tax, you do a new return. Yes, for income tax, you do a new return. Should I subject rent payment to 2% withholding if I'm acting as an agent? No. So for rent, you have to be appointed as a rent withholding agent. So wait until you're appointed as a rent withholding agent. There's still that, especially if you're having many branches, you're having a lot of rent, you may find that KRA would want to appoint you as a rent withholding agent. Otherwise, I don't know how your agent, how your landlord will react if you start withholding. Some of withholding, the biggest issue with withholding is the reaction from the other person. Most of the people, when you tell them I'm a withholding agent, they start telling you, we don't want to do business with you. Hama, kama ni landlord, anakuambia hama hapa, if you're going to do me withholding. So, James, you can judge how is the reaction, but I would prefer you wait until you are appointed as a withholding, as a rent withholding agent. So what is about residential property that is under annual regime, not withholding for the fundis? So annual regime, we've said there isn't. So MRI, if you registered a company, that company you're doing monthly, it just owns the residential property only. Nothing else. Is not doing any other business. Just do the MRI, which is the final tax. When you're doing major office renovation and repair, can you capitalize non-items expenses incurred, such as payment to foodies? So if you're doing major office renovation and repair, can you capitalize? No. It depends with the magnitude of those renovations. Remember, if you capitalize them, you don't claim those expenses. So you have to see where you're losing as a company. Then on the other hand, items, foodies, you can push them as personal emoluments, where you can state their wages and make them sign sheets. So it's also how you plan on that and claim those expenses. So you can be able to claim those expenses. It's not a must. Remember, there were expenses that are exempted from items, and wages and salaries are part of that. So it's also how you plan on that. Is it true that VAT on staff bus cannot be claimed? We are looking to buy a second-hand EV bus. Why? If it is an asset of the organization, you can claim it. Even if it's a motor vehicle staff bus, as long as it's for the furtherance of the business. What happens to institutions with pending renewal tax exemption certificates? You have to solve the issue, Agnes, of tax exemption certificate. And I've seen KRA very aggressive on the tax exemption. By the way, these days, they are not just releasing them. There's a lot of, by the time you go for that renewal, you're grilled to the core. They take a list of so many documents, bank statement, so many things they are checking for them to be able to renew that exemption certificate. So Agnes, kindly fast track the process so that you don't get issues with taxes. Can I do an amendment of VAT return in December to reconcile with the items turnover with iTax turnover? Yes, you can, Matthew. Yes, you can do that. So before the filing of income tax return, make sure that you check the VAT for the full year, January to December, and make sure they reconcile with the income tax return before it is filed. So you can do that amendment. And remember, we stated that any amendment is a trigger, but if it is necessary, do it. And make sure that that amendment also, for it to go through, make sure that you're paying taxes. It's not that you're reducing taxes, you're paying taxes. So you're putting something higher than what was there. If it is lower, you're attracting a tax audit and a tax trigger. So I can see I can see so many questions. So my co-host, you can continue answering a few as I go back. Kindly let me go back to our topic, then we can come back to the questions. We can go back to the items. Let's proceed. Kindly allow me to proceed. My co-host can continue answering a few as I continue. Let's talk about the validation process and how to file the return. So have you been able, let me just ask a query. Have you been able to file the return for year 2025? Have your company been able to do it? So let me see a yes, and how did you do it? If somebody can be able to give us a feel there. Have you been able to file, and how did you do it? So that is a question. And or how did the auditor do it? These changes were incorporated, I believe, at the mid-March. So we want to see the past few times how they were able to be done. And I'm also going to share with you how we've been able to do it. So we've been able also to test, and I'm going to show you. So changes, so these are some of the issues. We raised that there were some expenses that were excluded from teams or teams validation. And these are the expenses that are exempted from teams. And I've mentioned a few, like employment expenses. So there are sections where you're supposed to input this data. So make sure that you follow this. So when you say that you have salaries, make sure that you use that section 6.5 in the profit and loss account. Remember, this is the downloaded format. So you're going to download this format. And I guess we are in version, I don't know what. So you're going to make sure that you download the latest and incorporate the data as provided here. So what will happen for the items that are we did not collect the items? They are not items compliant. So I'm going to show you how you're going to go about that one. So let me proceed here. So there are additional sheets to address the emerging issues. So I've mentioned a few sheets that have been able to be incorporated that are going to cover accrual, deferred income, prepayment, work in progress. So those sheets are available. If you're having accounting, if your balance sheet and your income, remember what we file our profit and loss and our balance sheet. So those are the two financial statements that we file. So if you're having these categories in your profit and loss or in your balance sheet, so this is what is happening. And remember, our profit and loss, our balance sheet is unique according to the companies, our different businesses. So there are businesses who say, we have this and this category, deferred income, and it is not there. We have work in progress. I'm very sure not all of us have work in progress. It is not provided. So these sheets are provided, and KRA is still working on it. So you tell them that I have this and this, and it is not provided. So they are still working on it to enhance it. So after that, there's going to be post-filing return validation. KRA stated that after we file, they are going to do the post-filing validation return. I'm going to mention that at the tail end as I show you how to go about it. So this is what is happening. So you can also be able to view what was filed for your VAT and for your items. So you can be able to view on the dashboard. So you click there where I've selected VAT, and then you can be able to download the pre-filed form. So you can be able to select VAT, then a particular month, and in every particular month, you can be able to see your sales, you can be able to see your purchases. And the reason why you're seeing this data is so that data, remember that is the data they are going to use to validate the data that you're providing for the income tax. So I'm going to share the notes with you, so don't get worried. I'm going to share the notes with you. So there is a chart, there is a the so there is a link at the on the chat box, on the chat, that you can be able to fill in, and I'm going to share with you. I'm going to share the notes with you. Please share the screen. I don't know what has happened to my screen. Just a minute. Just a minute. Okay. Tell me if you can see it. Tell me if you can see it right now. Please, okay, show, can see the link I'm going to share with you. Tell me if you can share, if you can see my sharing. Yes, okay, thank you. Sawa. Sawa. Pole. Okay. So this is where I mentioned that this is what you're going to do. Then you're going to be able to view, you're going to get a zip file, and you're going to download it. So this is what will be happening upon opening the zip file. All items data can be accessed for cross-checking before filing. So you're going to see all the items data when you do that. Remember, you're going to cross-check this with the income tax return, so that you make sure that the information that was on items is the information that is on your income tax return. So how do you do the income tax return? I know some of you tell me I was fast. I'm going to share the notes with you. So how are you going to do the income tax return? So this is how. So you're going to file return, and then you're going to go down there, and you're going to see, select the income tax return as the obligation, and you're going to see it there. I want to go to the places where I'm going to want to show you. So you're going to download the auto-populated IT company return. And this is how it looks like. So it is coming with the pre-filing. It has basic information. It has information that has been pre-filed for you. So previously we used to input some of this information, especially information on withholding taxes. You're going to find it there. Information about installment taxes, you're going to find it there. Previously, we had to go back, even look for the payment registration number, and so that we can come back and file it. So it's picking information from what you've been able to do during the year. So this is how you're going to do the non-items expense. So this is where the issues are. So you're going to do the manual non-items invoices there. So you're going to navigate to the return bar, then income tax return. Then you're going to select non-items invoice. You can see where my pointer is. From there, you're going to, okay, sorry. So that is the installment. Let me move forward a bit. Sorry. So that I mentioned, those are the information you're going to find. So when you get the manual, this is how it looks like. So this is how you're going to select. So you select for the year 2025. That is the accounting year that we are doing this. And then you're going to choose the file. So it is an Excel file, CSV file. So this is how it looks like. So this is how it looks like when you're able to download it. So you're going to incorporate this information. And remember, this is information for all non-eatings expense. Remember, for year 2025, most of us were not careful to make sure that we were eatings compliant. So if you had your expenses, remember we have done our income tax return. Our income tax return has sales, which is eatings compliant. By now, all our sales are eatings compliant. Then it has our purchases. Some are eating, some are not. Then we have our expenses. So you have your income, you have your sales that is 5 million or 10 million. You have your purchases at 3 million. You have different expenses. These expenses are like rent, transport. We have other supplies that you have done. Make sure that you have now receipts and invoices in this area. So the supplier PIN has to be there. The supplier invoice name has to be there. Invoice number, invoice date, supplier description, and the amount. So for us that have expenses, you have petty cash expenses, you have field expenses, marketing expenses, 1 million, 5 million, but you don't have this information. If somebody asks you for proper documents, give me source documents, you don't have them, then this is where you lose, because this information has to be provided for that return to go through. And remember, if you say that you have marketing expense of 3 million, then that 3 million, you have to describe all the receipts and all the invoices in this area. So if someone came and you paid them 10,000, you have their PIN, supplier name, invoice number, date, everything here. And you're going to do this for all your expenses that are non-eatings, all your purchases that are non-eatings. I'm imagining you having your expenses, which is 20 million, that you're going to put in one by one in this category. So you start with rent. The rent is 3 million. You input until possibly number 15. Then you start transport. You input until 100. Then you go to the repairs. Then you go to the next one. And all that 20 million, it is here, one by one. I hope I'm clear, because this is where the issues are. Then after that, we don't stop there. So after you've incorporated all your data there, you're going to go to the next one. So you're going to upload that information. And then you're going to upload supporting document. So that information you put here, if you put a receipt, number 2, you're going to scan it. Number 3, number 4, if you input receipts and invoices, 1,000 of them, you're going to scan them. And then you're going to upload them here. So we have the upload supporting document here. You choose a file and you upload and submit. So this is the hardest section for the income tax return filing for year 2025. And by the way, previously we used to see returns that were not ending December being able to go through. Right now they are not going through. So if you're supposed to have filed by 31st March, it is not going through. April, remember those financial years that are not January to December, they are in the middle there. Nothing is going through until you follow this process. So after that, then you're going to come here and input the information, manual non-eatings teams expense. You're going to say 30 million, 20 million, input it there, so that now it synchronizes all data. It's able to synchronize all data from what it was able to validate on eatings to what you manually provided and then be able to raise the taxes due and be able to pay. Sijui kama nimeeleweka. Before I share the next issue, I guess I'll share the next issue in 5 minutes. Let me go to the chart and see. Sijui kama nimeeleweka ama nimeji-explain in long terms. You can tell me kama umeelewa. Tell me kama nimeeleweka. Morris understood. Thank you, understood. Okay. 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 Is there a simpler way to go about it? Mambo ni mengi. Gadhani ameniambia mambo ni mengi. Okay, okay. So if you're having an auditor, that is the formula they're supposed to do. If you're having challenges in filing, you can talk to us. We can do it for you. One support at a go. On uploading non-eTIM support, is one supposed to upload one support as a go? You can tell me what is that one support at a go? Can I scan non-eTIMs in one or one by one? I guess you can just do the simpler way possible for you. You can do it a simpler way for you. And remember something that I mentioned earlier, and I said I'm going to share it again, post-filing review. So KRA stated that after we do that, because they are not going to, the moment you do it that way, it is going through. So it is going through. So after that, and at this particular point, also, even if you don't scan everything, it is still going through. But there's somewhere they stated that they are going to do the post-filing return review. So if they do those post-filing return review, that is the place where that will be their concentration point. The non-eTIMs and the support document that you have provided. So if you say the marketing cost is 10 million and you did not fully support, and they had given you the sheet to fully support, they are going to disallow and they are going to state you could have supported because the space to support was this one. So the manual, Adon is saying the manual work is a lot. That is why we must push to buy from suppliers with eTIMs only. And I can see a lot of support for sure, especially for year 2026. You have to go that route. So I can see this a good one. Let me read it. Comment. The solution was supposed to be for SMEs and individuals that don't issue PIN numbers. Now the PIN is still mandatory. Can you imagine? So it means that even if anybody that is doing business in Kenya has to have a PIN, the only problem is that they didn't provide you with a PIN certificate, with a PIN number. And I'm also thinking that out of those filing that you are doing, KRA is also going to spot so many people that are doing business that are not tax compliant. So the tax widening, that is why it's coming in, that they want to spot everybody, especially this whole exercise is affecting SMEs and micro SMEs. This is the biggest, because when you look at the large taxpayers office, most of these people I have been able to incorporate these things. They fully use eTIM, they fully use the system. Actually, they even integrate their accounting, their ERPs with eTIMs, as in they are 100%. But when it comes to the us and micros, and they want to really make sure that they get to that level. And also as us, because that is where we are as an entrepreneur and in your business. When I see such areas, I always pose a question and ask, have you been able to incorporate taxes when you're doing business? Do you know your profit margin? Can you maintain your profit margin and still pay taxes? Or are we having unfair market ground that make us avoid taxes so that we remain competitive? So if we incorporated full business income and full 100% compliance, can you still be in business? So that is some of the questions that we need to understand. Can I use e-citizen PIN number in the non-items to claim annual director's return? Do you know? The maximum size is 10 MB. Okay, I can see you, Moses. So for the people that have been able to file, you can tell us about the 10 MB. There's people who are citing the 10 MB is small. Do you offer, okay, let me answer that one. Do you offer internal training to entities? Yes, we do, Wilson. Yes, we do. I'll share our numbers at the tail end. Once I register for eTIMS, how long should I wait to start raising it via eTIMS? It's over a week now, I'm still unable to. Agatha, you're supposed to raise immediately. You register. Possibly you're having issues on how to operate it. By the way, eTIMS requires a bit of training. Remember, you have to incorporate all your stocks there. So there's people who find it before you shike munapelekana. So if you're having a challenge to also operate, we can also train you on that. Okay, if you are VAT registered seller, but your supplier is not, is it mandatory to sell your product with VAT to your customer? Yes. Yes, Rihanna. If you're registered seller, if you're registered for VAT, it doesn't matter who you sell with VAT. And I'll give an example of a hardware. A hardware will sell to contractor, they will sell to homeowners who are not VAT registered, but they have to sell with VAT. When you go to a supermarket, you're not even claiming that VAT, but the supermarket is selling you with VAT because they are VAT registered. So on turnover tax, so turnover tax, you're supposed to do 1.5% on your gross sales. And we posted, there's a post I did on TikTok, and I said, you can use your turnover to reduce on eating's complexity. Remember, when you do the turnover tax, the 1.5% on your gross sales, it's a final tax. And it's final tax at the end of the day. But remember, for that turnover, you have to use eTIMS. eTIMS is cutting across. So you're selling with eTIMS, and you find that after selling with eTIMS for the month of March, you sold 1 million, for instance. That 1 million, you're going to subject it to turnover tax at 1.5% and pay that turnover tax to KRA. Then the reason why it's much simpler is that at the end of the year, you're not supposed to do corporation tax. Corporation tax requires that you have to look for the invoices on your purchases and on your expenses. So that is the reason why I was finding turnover tax to be much simpler. For registration, you register online. It's an online registration, and you have to file for corporation tax. If you not file for corporation tax, especially for year 2025, you have to file for that corporation tax so that you can be able to apply for turnover tax. Yes, it has issue. KRA solved the issue of income tax template, not computing capital allowances and wear and tear. I've mentioned that. Possibly Isa umeingia baadaye. Tumesema KRA has given a statement that it has been able to work on some of those issues regarding the allowances and the wear and tear on under the iTax portal. So let me go back and finalize, then I'll come back. Let me just go back and finalize. So we have the emerging issue also on the KRA leadership shakeup. I hope you've been able to see that. So we are going to see how that plays along when it comes to taxes and pressure and what is going on. So we always see when there are new changes, especially on leadership, it also comes to changes with the collection, with the pressure and that area. VAT proposal, removal of the threshold. So we are still waiting to see about the finance bill, the Finance Act proposals, the proposal that I'm going to be being raised. So possibly before the end of the month, we're going to see if there are changes, if it is going to be still there. And even last year, it was still there. The only part was that it didn't have a lot of issues that cut across the common businesses. But we're going to see possibly in the next month, in the month of May, God willing, we shall be having those trends. I'm very sure that we shall be there. We shall be there on the proposals. So some of the proposal is to eliminate the 5 million VAT threshold. It's quite cruel. The other one for year 2024, actually, KRA, there was a proposal to make it to 8 million. And the finance bill, ikaenda hivyo. But now this is a proposal to just eliminate. VAT is very taxing for people to be able to do it. And for you also to be able to do VAT, you have to consider your profit, your cash flows. There are so many things you have to consider. Otherwise, you can be pushed out of business because of it. So it was done that way to be able to promote the micro SMEs, to be able to help them to grow. So that's what I had. That's what I had. So we do a lot of trainings we can do. And we have this masterclass that is coming in, audit and bookkeeping, in the month of October. So I'll share with you so that you can kindly plan. And also we have the taxation masterclass. You have to Jaweka. So let me see, I'll put here, it's in the month of August. So you can still plan on that. So we are RWK Africa for the one that was asking for contacts. So the contact there, 0728-897-429. We can help you do the tax filing and also be able to do the tax issues that you're having. We can also do internal trainings to your organization and even tax health check. you might be not knowing how to just work around the issues that you're having and how to be compliant. Now we are there, especially for your business. If your business, you've been growing your business, it is very, very important for you to do the tax health check and see where you're missing out and do a bit of tax planning. This will also help you do tax planning. And we also help you solve tax issues and be able to advise you on the tax issues that you're going through. So this is the audit period. We are doing audits also, so you can still talk to us. I want to go back and answer a few questions before we close. So I want to answer a few questions before we close. So kindly ask the questions. Charity is asking, do you have job opportunities? So you can follow us on LinkedIn. When we do, we always post there. Would you advise one to register for VAT or TOT? So I mentioned this, and you can also follow me on TikTok. By the way, I've been doing a bit of these videos. And I mentioned there VAT and TOT. So turnover tax and VAT are different tax obligations. So you register for VAT and you still register for TOT. So for TOT, you do it for corporation. So when you're doing TOT, you don't do corporation tax. So that TOT covers your corporation tax. It is a sales tax. At the end of the month, you're doing 1.5% on your gross sales. And then it is final tax. So at the end of the year, you don't do corporation tax. But at the point where you get to the 5 million threshold for VAT, you do both TOT and VAT. So I hope that is clear. What is the position of input taxes and penalties that were incurred during special table? So KRA has not stated about that. So at the moment, the issues is just payment. And these are just about what? The penalties, the 10,000 on unfiling. What I can recommend is that do your VAT, pay the principal amount, then the penalties and interest you can hold on, especially if you're having cash flow issues. So for the notes, my co-host has stated there. A vegetable supplier did eatings for year 2025, but doesn't have eatings expense. Is it possible for them to claim non-VAT expense without support document, noting that they buy from vegetable from the farmers? So that is we are yet to see. We are yet to see KRA reaction on this. So for that, because at the tail end, they'll still say the farmer had their personal PIN. So we're going to see how KRA responds on this, especially for the areas where we did not collect the pins. So at the moment, the data provided, you have to include that PIN number. What about petty cash payment, i.e. cash was? Will the petty cash vouchers be accepted? I believe so. I believe, okay, that's okay. I believe, okay, that's okay. Make sure that they have their name, the ID number, the amount, the phone number of the person, have the concrete information provided, the signatory of the cash you're being paid. Not just a petty cash written out of like a fake document. No, just make sure that it has the correct data. If you withhold tax on an items invoice, can your expense be disallowed? Why are you withholding to non-items invoice, Wilson? How can I support imports that were not captured? So Ruth, I don't know how we shall go about that. So these are emerging issues that are emerging, especially for those consolidators. Are they going to, I'm very sure they are going to be pushed to give to be giving data, to be giving you invoices and to figure out how that happens. Because if it went through the IGMS, the system the record, you actually find it on iTax. You find it right there. When you're filing, you just find that import data there. So that one you can, we'll keep responding as we get the issues raised and seeing how KRA is able to solve. Is one rental income is below 24, should I file MRI tax? No, you shouldn't. So the minimum is 20 as relief as pay as you earn. Do you know using items invoices forces a business to use accrual-based accounting and not cash-based accounting? Evans, tell us more. Tell us more. What is that? Because an invoice, when you raise an invoice, whether you're paid in cash or you're paid next 3 months or what, an items invoice has to be raised, whether it's income invoice or a receipt, an items receipt. If somebody came and bought something, you're going to give them an items receipt. If they are paying you next week or next month, you're going to give them an items invoice. And remember also, a credit sale is still a sale. So if today you're having credit sales, they are still considered as sales for tax purposes. So if you have your total sales, that is 50 million. But out of that 50 million, 20 million are debtors. You're not going to remove and say, no, I sold 30 million. You know 20 million are debtors. They're credit sales. No. You acknowledge the full 50 million. Then that 20 million, you push it to your balance sheet as debtors. So sometimes when you consider tax, you may find that it is a bit punitive because you're going to even pay taxes on money that you've not collected. Please clarify on sales record being on e-teams. What if all sales are informal and payments are cash? Okay. Okay. I don't know what to comment about that, about the cash payment and cash retailer. So let me answer. Can rental income be taxed as pay annual instead of monthly? Yes, if you hit more than 15 million turnover per year. But if you're below that turnover, you have to do the monthly. So there's a threshold for you to do it on a yearly basis. And remember, when you do at the yearly basis, the expenses that you're going to have incur there, you have now to make sure that your e-teams compliant, so that you can be able to claim some of those expenses. So with that, I would say thank you so much. Kindly, you can, if you have a personalized question, and if you'd want to also talk to us, I've shared the number there. You can call us and request to talk to us. If you have a tax issue, we can also help you solve it. We are able to go to represent you on tax issues, even at the objection level, at the tribunal, at the ADR. And for me, I believe that a taxpayer should be fully heard, and we push so that you can be able to get a fair judgment. So you can also talk to us. If you have a personalized question that possibly you couldn't write, it is a lot, it is personal, you can still get that number and talk to us. So I wanted my colleague Joachim for 10 minutes only. So Joachim, if you can hear me, you can come in. After seeing the major issues that are coming from taxes, we have realized that most of the issues come from record keeping and not having a system. So we've been able to develop a low-cost solution and accounting software that is helping businesses be able to organize their books very well. So I would want to welcome Joachim for 10 minutes only. These are requests for you to be able to see how the system is operating. Because of the link, the information you have provided to us on that link, we are going to share the notes with you. And for all the other trainings that you'll be having, right now we are using the emails. So the moment when we have the training, we'll be sending you the email, and we send it prior, like a week, so that you can be able to plan properly. Then also follow us on our socials. We always post. And when we post, we always have even the link details there. You can actually go direct to our socials and just go direct through the link to the webinar when we are having it. So we always do that. If you shared your phone number, we also do a bit of broadcasting to just tell you that we are on, so that you can come in and learn. So with that, I can say asanteni sana. I will keep you posted on everything that we are doing and everything that KRA is asking. We have a webinar that is coming in on questions to ask your auditor before tax filing. I'll share with you the dates. It's very crucial, especially now that we're having the validation process. So I'll share with you, and you can be able to come in and learn. The essence of these webinars is to make sure that you learn as much as you can and be able to make a possible judgment when you're able to make better decisions when you're running your business. Most of the queries that we get for taxes are from issues that could have been solved if only somebody understood tax. So when you see somebody closing down their business and they are saying, oh, it's because of KRA, apana, it's because they did not understand properly taxes. So the moment you come in, you learn, you understand, you're able to make better decision for your business. And also you remove that fear. When you understand something, fear goes away. Some of us say, oh, when you get that call from KRA, you can't sleep. Apana. The moment you understand, and you understand you're doing it correctly and it is properly, and how you do tax planning, then the rest, you're able to scale that business properly. There are people who are scared of growth. And someone here shared, what is the turnover for you to be at MTO? And the moment I mentioned there, compliance goes to the next level, you're like, if now we are 50 million, 70 million, then let's move in and create another company. Then, so that we don't go to 200 million. I've gone to businesses, someone tells you, I'm running 3 businesses under one roof because of KRA. Let me tell you, the danger of that is this. When you solve tax issues, you solve tax issues with one. Before you complete, then you come to the next one. As in, you start having tax issues that are endless because you're having 3 companies that are operating 100 million each, just because you don't want to have one company that is doing 300 million and you go to MTU. You don't want to go to LTU because you've been scared of growth and scared of taxes. The moment you understand tax, you have the right tax consultant with you, you can scale your business to that LTU. You understand tax planning, you understand where you make your profit margin, how you structure your business, you can grow. And the moment you handle tax issues with the KRA at a go, they give you 2-3 years to work on your business, then they come back and do audit. But if you're going to be handling audit throughout the year, then 2024 you're doing audit, 25 you're doing, even now you're in tax audit, then you're going to close down the business and it is going to be very cumbersome. So there are some of the things that we can talk to, how you structure your business, how you run your business, that can help you be able to do better business. So that is the reason we are here. Karibu sana Joakim. Asanteni sana, mkuwe na weekend poa and a lovely Friday.
Hello guys, hope you have had a very good interaction on the tax trends and the recent updates on the KRA with Dr. Regina. So hope you can be able to see my screen. You can share a thumbs up if you can see my screen. Okay, that's okay. So I will be able to take you about our accounting software, that is My Accurate Books, which is basically is for the bookkeeping purposes of small and medium businesses, which we have taken into account of all the aspects of the accounting. So this is the landing page of My Accurate Books system that is basically made for Kenyan businesses. So you can be able to use it on your machines, that is your computer, desktop, iPad, and also your phone. So it's a cloud-based system that you can be able to log in using multiple devices. Whenever you have internet, you can be able to log in from multiple devices and see how your business is performing. So it keeps track of all what is happening in the businesses so that you can have a correct know of how your business is performing. So these are some of the key issues, key aspects of the system that you can be able to access on the system. So one thing is through the system, you'll be able to generate receipts and invoices for your customers and also quotations. So you'll be able to do that in one place. Second feature is the stock control for the people who deal with the product business. Anytime you want to do a stock take, the system provides you a very simplified stock take feature whereby you can be able to take your stock and also see the variances within the stocks and also the value impact of the stock which is maybe not accounted for in the system. And also on the system, you can be able to track on maybe customers you sold on credit, you can be able to track on those debts. And also whenever the customer makes a payment, even if it's a partial payment, you can always be able to update it and also have a correct tracking of your customer debt. And then the user permission, you can be able to use different users in the system. And also each particular user will be able to have their own logins. So that, and also you can be able to limit the areas they can be able to visit. So if it's a salesperson and you want them to just manage the sales, you just give them the sales feature only, so they can only be able to access their assigned permission. Then you can be able to run your multiple branches within one system, and each branch is independent on its own. And also generating all the accounting reports, that is the P&L, balance sheet, cash flow, debtors, creditors, in a form of a PDF and in Excel. So those are some of the key features of the system. So I'll just log into one of the live account, and then we can be able to have a look of a live account and how it looks like. So this is my account, which is called Zinjo Roofing. So anytime you log into your account, this is the feature you'll be able to get depending on the data range you have applied on the filter. You can be able to see the sales of that particular period, the expenses, the purchases, and also the health of your business. That is the profit of and loss of the business. Then daily sales performance from date 1 to date the 31st date of the month. So you'll be able to see all the sales in a graphical way to see the good days, the bad days, so that you can be able to see how the business is performing. And also the data's report is whereby you can now be able to see, track the amount of money which is still out there with your client, so that you can be able to set credit limits, so that when it reaches to a particular limit, you can decide maybe let me first clear these debts before I start invoicing other clients on credit terms. So the dashboard just gives you an overview of how your business is performing, so that you can have a correct knowledge of what the business is performing even without going into deeper details. So you can go to the first feature of the system is the inventory. The products and services is where you'll be able to input your different products. So adding products, you just click add item and you can be able to input the product name, category, it's a product, a raw material, or a service, and also the tax type it is in, and then you can be able to upload it, or you can be able to generate an Excel template, input your products and services, and upload them on the system, and they will be able to populate on your inventory. So these are some of the items I have on this particular account. So you'll be able to have as many items as your business does. For me, I have around 911 items, so you can always be able to do so. Then a stock transfer, if maybe you have 3 or 4 branches. So for me, I have around 12 branches. If I want to transfer stock from one branch to the other branch, that particular branch just sends a request to the main branch, and I can order any other branch, and we can be able to transfer stock from the other branch to the destination branch. So it's something you can be able to maneuver through the system. If they want stock, they just send a request, that admin approves the request, and the stock is transferred to the other branches. Then stock control is whereby you can be able to take stock of all your items. So anytime maybe you do a monthly stock take, you just click a stock take, and you can be able to do a stock take of your inventory. And all the stock take you do, you could be able to see the variances you found, and also the total value impact of those items which were not balancing, so that you can always be able to maybe get to the root cause of why those particular items were missing. Then on the sales, view sales is whereby you'll be able to see the daily sales of you have done in the business. And again, you can be able to filter depending on the user who made those particular sales. So you can be able to filter each particular user and also their sales. So each particular user in the system will be able to have their logins so that you can always be able to filter that. And then making sale, you can always be able to generate receipts and invoices, quotation, credit notes, and also receive payments from maybe customers you had sold on credit terms. So it becomes easy to navigate through. That is the feature on the sales. Then the feature on the purchases. So you can be able to do purchase orders to your suppliers. You can also be able to record all the purchases from your suppliers. So you can be able, so that at the end of the month, then you can be able to track how much you spend on purchases. And also if a supplier wants a statement of their supplies and also their payments, you can also be able to generate them a supplier statement and also issue to them. You can also be able to issue debit note to your suppliers in case they brought some items which were defective. You can be able to add your suppliers on the system and also pay your suppliers if they supplied you items on a credit. Then the other part is on the transaction. You can also be able to see all the transaction within the business and also generate all the receipts for any invoice or receipt which was paid for, so that you can always be able to issue a receipt for any particular payment and also track all the money in and money out of the business. And then on the expenses is whereby you can be able to create your different expense categories, so that whenever a particular expense is incurred, it can be input in a particular category. If it's salaries, it goes to salaries. If it's maybe legal fee, it goes to the legal fee, so that when you come to the expense dashboard, you can always be able to see all the expenses you incurred and each particular category, how much you spend on each particular category. Maybe salaries, we spend 200,000, internet, we spend 5,000 and all that. Then on the customers, you can also be able to have your customers on the system. So there are two types of customers. There is the individual customer and also the business customer. So you'll be able to add your customers in the system. So if it's an individual customer, just click add and you can be able to just need the name, the last name, and the phone number. If it's a business client, you will need the business name, KRA PIN, contact person, and then you can, so that this particular information will be able to appear on their receipts and also their information. Then generating all the accounting reports, the system automatically does that. So it becomes easier even for the accountant to generate reports of the business transactions, from the cash flow, balance sheet, trial balance, asset management, journal of entries, and also creating different charts of account. You can be able to do that on the accounting feature. So it has taken into aspect of all the accounting features in the system, so that even an accountant can be able to generate these particular reports at a click. You don't have to have much of hassle in looking into the books, but the system can always be able to populate the data for you. Then also generating the normal reports, maybe the inventory report to see what are balances of your stock you have. You can be able to do that. Then also the profit and loss of the business. You can be able to generate see and how the business is performing, from all the revenue generated to cost of goods sold to operating expenses, and also you can be able to see your net income. So this you can be able to filter either on a weekly basis, daily basis, monthly basis, to see how much you are making on that particular period. If it's on the customer report, you can be able to see the debtors report, customer balances, and also daily collection. Creditors report, you can be able to see the suppliers you have not completed their payments. Then you can also be able to generate your sales report. Then on the user management, if maybe you have different employees who will be using the system, as an admin, you can be able to create them on the system, and also you can be able to limit the areas they can be able to visit on the system. So for an admin, will be able to have all the permission. Then if it's a person you added, maybe a salesperson, you can be able to limit the areas they can be able to visit on the system. So if you want them to manage sales, you just give them the sales button and also the customer button. But the other areas, your reports, your expenses, they are not able to view them unless you give them those particular permissions. So you can be able to limit and also protect your data from being leaked outside there. So it keeps the confidentiality of your business. Then the other aspect is on the branches, whereby you can maybe you have different branches and you want to track each particular branch, their sales and also their profit margins. So on the system, you can be able to have different branches, and you can always be able to switch from one branch to the other and see how the business is performing. Then on the customization, you can also be able to customize your receipts, your invoices, and also your quotations to look a particular, maybe you have a particular template that you usually have. You can always be able to create a particular template so that all your invoices comes with that coloring, that aspect, that arrangement. Then on the billing is whereby you can now be able to choose a package of the system. So we have two packages of the system. So we have the standard package and the gold package. So the standard package has the inventory management, invoices, quotation, expenses, and all that. What is missing on the standard package is the ability to run multiple businesses under one account and also the accounting suite. So on the gold package, the accounting suite is available there, not on the standard package. On the standard package, you can only be able to generate the normal report, the P&L, the sales report, customer balances. But all the accounting reports and advanced accounting suite are available on the standard and the gold package, from generating your trial balance, balance sheet, journal of entries, asset management, and also ability to have more branches, more users on the system, and also ability to have a petty cash management wallet, whereby you can be able to track on all the payments within the business using your wallet, and also generate a statement for all the money that is spent within the business. So for a yearly plan, it goes for 9,000, and the standard package is 5,500. You can be billed on a yearly plan or a semi-annual plan or a quarterly plan. So you can decide to choose a package you'd want to start with. And also one thing we make sure we do with our customers is we offer free demos. So if you are interested in the system, we usually offer a free demo whereby we take you through the system for around 10 to 15 minutes so that you can be able to understand about the system before we onboard you, so that when you start inputting your entries, it becomes hassle-free. So that is much of the system. So if you have a particular question, just drop it on the chat box, and then I'll be able to take it through there. So I'll just answer the few questions which has been asked. So again, the system, you can be able to download it. There is a link which has been shared on the chat box. So you can be able to download the system on the Play Store and also access it through the website. Yeah, mainly can the system support management of multiple client books? Yes, you can be able to use it to manage multiple client books. So with the gold package, you can be able to create different customers and also different accounts so that you can be able to manage their books. Each particular client will have its own particular area where they can be able to manage their books. Maurice, you are asking about the bank reconciliation. We are finalizing on that, so you'll be able to do the bank reconciliation from the system. So it will be hassle-free using the system to do the bank reconciliation. And also you can be able to reach us on our mobile number, which is 011 633 to book a virtual demo, which is free for around 10 minutes to 15 minutes, whereby we take you through the system, all the aspects of the system, so that when you sit down and start now inputting your company details and all the inventory and all that, it becomes hassle-free, and you can be able to do that. And also we can help somewhere if you meet a challenge, and our support is always there 24 hours. So you don't have you won't have that problem. So for Anthony and CPA Jefferson, when you look into the business profile, you can see e-teams coming soon. So we are finalizing on the e-teams, so it will be updated on the system within the end of this month. So you'll be able to generate the e-teams invoices at that particular time. So it's something we are finalizing on. So in the meantime, you can access the system on the website, and then we can have a good engagement with the system. Oh, what's the question? Hello, I need a demo. Or when you can you can call me on you can call us on 0116 333 000, and then we can be able to do you the demo. So and also you can also share your mobile phone number on the so that I can be able to reach you. So just give us a call on this number, and then we can be able to do a virtual demo for you. Yes, the POS has an interface, so maybe I'll just go back to the POS. When you come to sales, you want to make a sales. When you click on the interface, this is the interface of the POS, whereby you can be able to do a quick sale, majorly for the restaurant and also the clubs and all that. They can be able to do a quick sale. So if it's an invoice, a particular customer wants at this particular item, you can just do a quick sale within 5 seconds. You can also be able to generate a receipt for that particular customer over that particular item. It is just that easy. The system is very easy to use. So that is these are now the POS interface, whereby you'll be able to see all the items, and you can be able to search by name or scroll down all your product and also all your services. Isaac, so the number is 0116 333 000. Yes, Isaac, you can be able to do bookkeeping for, you can be able to backdate the client's data on the system. So it's something that you can be able to do. And also Anthony has asked about SDK push. Yes, the system has the SDK push. So you can be able to integrate your M-Pesa, and also that is your till, and you can be able to do a prompt. You can see there is a quick prompt of your on M-Pesa. So it has the integration of a prompting. So you can reach us and we can be able to do a virtual demo on how the system works, how to do the integration, and how to prompt your customers, and how to input your different entries. Smith asked about how many companies can it handle. On the gold package, you can be able to use it for more than 20 companies. So it can handle up to 20 companies on the gold package. So I guess that one would serve the purpose maybe you need for Mr. Smith Moturi. Isaac, give us a call on 0116 333 000. So you can give us a call, and then after the meeting, I'll be able to reach out, and then we can be able to plan the demo, do the demo, and welcome you to the family of RWK and Accurate Books. We have really taken the aspects of the accounting of the business and also the bookkeeping, because RWK is an audit firm. So we have been able to tap into that particular knowledge of Dr. Regina, so that we have came up with a solution for most of the Kenyan businesses. Mr. Smith, the number is 0116 333 000. You can call us, you can drop a message on the WhatsApp, and then we can be able to reach out and guide you. So if you have any other question, just reach us through the 0116 333 000, and then we'll be able to get back, do your virtual demo of the system, and welcome you to the company. Thank you for your time, and have a lovely weekend.